Hello. I'm here in our living room, and I wanted to talk to you about devotions. And so I thought this is a good place to do that. If you can see here, I have my Bible right here. I have my iPad here, which is controlling the video, but normally I have it here so that I can open up the Bible app and look at other translations if need be. Over here, coffee, because who doesn't need caffeine? And then water. I actually try to drink that whole bottle by the time I'm done with devotions and go from there. So normally what I do is take time, a brief prayer, Bible, pray, go. Once in a while, I have a hard time, feels a little rote, I don't feel like I'm getting out what I need. And I've tried something else, and this is what I wanted to talk to you about. And that is about doing what's called devotional journaling. Devotional journaling, as soon as I said journaling, I probably lost at least half the guys, but it's a way of focusing your attention while you're reading. So typically in the morning I read a chapter from the New Testament, and I actually do like 5 pages from the Old Testament. When I'm reading, and again, this is kind of if I'm feeling stuck, I'm not getting things out of it, what I would do is act as if I'm writing a daily bread. And from what I've just read, how would I write a devotional? And so what you do is you sit there and say, I am going to pick out 1 or 2 verses, a paragraph, a sentence, and I'm going to write about that. To do that, it refocuses your attention on this is how I would do those things, and it changes how you look at the Bible just a little bit. Again, if you're stuck, try that. Today, and I didn't set this up, today I was in Romans 1, which if you can't get a devotional out of that, there's a huge problem. But I was in Romans 1, and the thing that jumped out at me is verses 16, 17, and 18. It says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel, for it is the power of God for salvation to everyone who believes, to the Jew first, and also to the Greek. For in it the righteousness of God is revealed from faith for faith, as it is written, the righteous shall live by faith." When I was done with reading the Old and New Testament, I then took out my devotional journal. And in my devotional journal, this is what I wrote. I wrote the date, Romans 11, 16, and 17, and the thing I focus on, from faith for faith. Or, again, looking in the New American Standard Bible, the NASB, it says from faith to faith, which I believe is also New King James. And this is what I wrote. It's all faith from first to last. Faith is the righteousness, the goodness, and the grace of God. Faith in the righteousness. I wrote is instead of in, messed up there. It's always been faith. As Paul states later, Abraham believed God, and it was counted to him as righteousness. That's Romans 4:3. Before Abraham, Abel by faith offered a better sacrifice than his brother. Hebrews 11. These Old Testament saints by faith received God's grace just like we do. We live by faith. The Corinthians, Paul wrote to them saying, we walk by faith, not by sight. If it is faith that defines God's people, then it is faith by which we live or walk. When you're done with that, that's all I wrote, a couple of short paragraphs, and then write a prayer to God about what you just wrote. And I wrote this, Dear Lord, when the struggles of life hit, when I desire to walk by sight, doing what makes sense to people who have not put their faith in you, help me to do what men of faith would do, what men of faith have always done. Amen. Took 5 minutes to write, but again, if this helps you, it's something you can do. Again, my mind is, if I was going to write a daily devotional for the daily bread, or to share with my small group, or to blog, whatever it might be, you're not looking for theological treatises, you're not looking for pages, you can do that. But if it takes 5 minutes, see if this helps. Sometimes, again, either I'm in a rut or my mind, I'm having a hard time focusing. And because of that, I'll try something like this. Give it a shot. If this is helpful, give a shout out. Let me know how you made out. Thank you very much. I'm sure I'll talk to you again soon.